The Day Marriage Was My Fear. What Really Happened, Part 2. My father looked at his daughters and decided we weren't enough reason to stay. Pause. That sentence took me years to be able to say out loud, and even longer to stop letting it define me. Welcome back. If you watched Part 1, you know I told you that marriage was once my greatest fear. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly why. No filters, no sugarcoating, just the truth, because I believe someone watching this needs to hear it. My name is Josephine. This is my reality story. I grew up in a home that looked normal from the outside. We had a father, a mother, a roof over our heads. But there was always this tension, a silence that sat at the dinner table like an uninvited guest. My father was a provider, I'll give him that. But provision without presence is just a transaction. And slowly, I began to notice that he was emotionally somewhere else. His eyes were distant. His patience was thin. His affection almost non-existent. We were 3 girls in our house, 3 daughters. And I remember as a child thinking that was beautiful. I had sisters. I had my mum. We laughed together, cried together, prayed together. But my father, he saw something different when he looked at us. He saw the absence of sons. I don't remember the exact day I found out. I think part of me always knew something was wrong. Children always know, even when adults think they're hiding it. But the day it became real, I remember it clearly. My mother's face. The way she sat on the edge of the bed, very still, like she was trying to hold herself together by sheer willpower. She didn't cry in front of us. She never cried in front of us. My father had found another woman, and he wasn't hiding it anymore. The reason he gave, the reason that has stayed with me every single day since, was that we were only girls, that my mother had only given him daughters. As if we were a failure, as if our existence was the problem. I was a child, and I learned that day that some men will look at their own blood and find it lacking. How do you trust marriage after that? How do you trust a man after that? How do you even trust yourself, your own worth, after hearing that the fact that you were born female was reason enough for your family to be destroyed? I carried that weight into my teenage years, into my young adult life, into every relationship I tried to have. I became hypervigilant. I watched men closely, too closely, looking for the exit signs, waiting for the moment they would decide I wasn't enough, wasn't the right kind of enough. I told myself I didn't want marriage, that I was fine alone, that independence was protection. But honestly, I was just afraid. Afraid that if I gave my whole heart to a man, he would do what my father did. That one day he would look at me, at my children, and find a reason to leave. And no woman wants to become her mother's pain. I watched my mum rebuild herself from nothing. She was strong, Lord knows she was strong, but I saw what that breaking cost her. I saw the quiet moments when she thought no one was looking. I saw the weight she carried. I promised myself I would never be that vulnerable. But here's what I didn't understand then, that I understand now. Closing your heart doesn't protect you. It just makes you lonely inside a life that looks fine on the outside. The shift didn't happen overnight. It happened slowly, through prayer, through healing, through God showing me that my father's choices were never a reflection of my value. My father left because of his own brokenness, his own cultural conditioning, his own fear of inadequacy. He chose wrong, but his wrong choice was never, ever a verdict on who I am. I had to learn, and this took time, that I was not my father's disappointment. I was God's intention. And when I started to believe that, really believe it deep in my bones, something shifted. I stopped seeing marriage as a trap. I stopped seeing men as threats. I started seeing myself as someone worthy of genuine love. I also had to grieve. I had to mourn the father I deserved but didn't get. I had to sit with that little girl who watched her family fall apart and tell her it was not your fault. You were enough. You were always enough. Grief is not weakness. Grief is how we release what we were never meant to carry. Today I am married, and my marriage is not perfect. No marriage is. But it is built on a foundation that my younger self couldn't have imagined. It is built on honesty, on faith, on a man who chose me not despite who I am, but because of it. And I want you to know something. Whether you're single, whether you're in a difficult marriage, whether you're carrying your own version of my story, your past does not have to be your pattern. What was done to your mother does not have to be done to you. What was done to you does not have to be done to your daughters. The cycle can end with you, with your healing, with your healing, with your decision to believe that you deserve love that stays. If this story touched you, please like this video. It helps more women find it who need to hear it. Share it with a friend who grew up in a broken home and is afraid to trust love. Subscribe, because I am just getting started. There is so much more I want to share with you about faith, womanhood, marriage, and healing. And drop a comment below. I read every single one. Tell me, did you grow up watching something that made you afraid of marriage? You are not alone. I'm Josephine. This is my reality story, and I'll see you in the next one.